Welcome back to the channel. Today, we examine a major legal battle reshaping immigration enforcement in the United States, focusing on Illinois. A federal judge has ordered the release of hundreds of immigrants detained during a recent crackdown in the Chicago area, highlighting deep controversies over ICE tactics and their impact on families and communities. In 2025, under the Trump administration's Operation Midway Blitz, more than 3,000 people were arrested in Illinois, many in the Chicago metropolitan area. While officials said the crackdown aimed to enforce immigration laws aggressively, it sparked strong legal challenges and widespread community outrage. Attorneys from immigrant rights groups, including the National Immigrant Justice Center, NIJC, and the ACLU, filed a class action lawsuit claiming that ICE violated a 2022 federal consent decree known as the Castañón-Nava Agreement. This decree limits warrantless arrests unless a suspect is believed to be in the country illegally and poses a flight risk. Plaintiffs argued that ICE ignored these protections, carrying out widespread warrantless arrests and racial profiling. U.S. District Judge Jeffrey Cummings sided with immigrant advocates, ordering the immediate release of 13 individuals whom the government admitted were wrongfully detained. He extended the release to as many as 615 additional detainees by November 21st, pending further investigation. This ruling could free hundreds currently held under questionable circumstances, with some placed under alternatives to detention, like ankle monitoring. The judge's order applies to those arrested by ICE between June 11th and October 7th, 2025. The scale is staggering. Over 3,000 detained since the crackdown began, with many potentially arrested unlawfully. Some have already been deported or voluntarily left the country to avoid long-term detention. Lawyers argue ICE's tactics were not only unlawful, but devastating to communities, separating families and creating fear in neighborhoods and businesses across Chicago. Michelle Garcia, Deputy Legal Director at the ACLU of Illinois, called the ruling a victory for the rule of law, emphasizing accountability for federal immigration authorities. Fred Sau, Senior Policy Counsel at the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights, labeled the crackdown lawless behavior with reckless consequences. Not everyone agrees. The Department of Homeland Security criticized the judge's decision, with a spokesperson calling the ruling activist and claiming it endangers Americans by releasing immigrants deemed the worst of the worst. DHS is reviewing options to appeal or delay the release order. The case reflects a bitter divide in the country over immigration, strict enforcement versus legal advocates pushing for humane, lawful treatment. This battle goes beyond arrests. It strikes at the core of how immigration laws are enforced and the balance between civil rights and security. The 2022 consent decree protects constitutional rights from unchecked enforcement, and Judge Cummings' ruling reaffirms these protections. The decision raises questions about the future of immigration raids, enforcement policies, and political battles over reform. In summary, over 3,000 immigrants were arrested in Illinois during the 2025 crackdown. A federal judge ruled many arrests unlawful under the 2022 consent decree. 13 individuals were released immediately, with up to 615 more to follow. The ruling challenges ICE's tactics and emphasizes legal and human rights protections. DHS opposes the decision and may appeal. This unfolding story is vital for anyone following immigration, justice, and civil rights in America. Stay tuned as we continue to cover developments and bring the latest updates. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe for in-depth coverage of global and geopolitical news. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.